Hello, hello, hello.
We're
Happy
back
Wednesday,
another
guys.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Talk data to me Wednesday. We sometimes have this at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and sometimes have it whenever it's easy for everybody. So if you guys are following Geopoint Data on Facebook, then you will see us. And today, Dom, you want to make introductions?
Yeah, we got the real estate guru, Mr. Nasar El-Arabi, the man, the myth, the legend.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. He's the OG of wholesale YouTube.
Of wholesale YouTube. I didn't know this claim to fame. Yes. Then I'm going to write that down.
He's one of the first guys to start posting about wholesaling on YouTube.
Yeah, I was one of the first. It was a few guys before me, and unfortunately I didn't make all the money from it, but yeah.
It's for the people, right? It's for the people.
It's for the people.
It's for the people. Yeah.
It's funny. And we've been talking, I mean, am I saying it right? Nasir, right?
It's actually Nasar.
Nasar.
Yes.
Thank you, Nasar. So Nasar, we've talked a couple times, and you have so much information in your head, and we've been talking over the past few months, maybe 6 months, about how you were looking to bring the information in your head to the people. But I didn't realize that you were so heavily, communicating your message back in the day. So are you recently back in the education area? Or can people find you somewhere? Or do you want them to follow you somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's basically real estate guru. I call myself real estate guru because I'm not a guru. I'm a guru. I actually do this business. And the reason, I've been on YouTube since 2012, guys. And
wow.
Putting out free content since then. I did take a 3-year break and came back in 2019. And so I'm back out there with some on the education side. I definitely offer products and all that, but I have a lot of free information out there, guys.
Great. So check them out. Follow them on all the channels, Instagram, and I see your website, Max and Nas. Max and Nas, what? Yeah.
MaxandNas.com. That's for the course. Basically,
can I call you Nas? I feel like it's easier on it just flows better out of my tongue.
That's what I got growing up, Nas. So
cool.
Yes. But Max and Nas is where you can get the course from, and it'll get you from, if you're inconsistent or you've never done a deal, to consistently closing 3 to 5 deals a month.
Well, that's awesome, because we told everybody what we were going to talk about today, and maybe before we get into that, if you can help everybody understand maybe a little background, tell us tell the story, your story, and how you got to be here.
All right, so I'm one of the few people that's real estate, and real estate investors what I wanted to be. So not many of me, some guys just discover it, all works of life, and no way is right or wrong. But since I was 19, I wanted to be a successful real estate investor. So the way I got exposed to it, I overheard my father talking to the guy next door. Overheard my father talking to one of his friends about the guy next door, saying that he bought the house for $150, put $20,000 into it, and sold it for $270. So here I am, a 19-year-old kid. I'm like, $100,000. Wait, what? I gotta do real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was your neighbor. Did I hear that right?
My father was talking to his friend about the investor who bought my neighbor's house.
No kidding. So you just hear this sniff of a deal happen, and you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then we've talked before, you have an engineering type brain. You're like, let me jump in and dissect this, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So that's exactly what happened. And I went, me being 19, not knowing any better, went to my father, somebody who didn't do real estate, and said, hey, how do I get in real estate? And he was like, well, you talk to my friend and he'll fix your credit and then you can buy a house. I said, okay, let's do it. So he put the phone call in, and by 24, I bought my first house. I did everything wrong. And me and my partner, we ended up losing like $7,000 a piece on that. It was a fix and flip.
Expensive. It's probably cheaper than a lot of this education out there.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, it was a lesson learned, and that was my first taste. And fortunately, I born and raised in Jersey, and then after that deal, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I bought a rental property in '08 and '09, the traditional methods. I didn't know anything about creative real estate then. Then in 2010, I found out about creative real estate. And 2011, did my first wholesale deal. 2012, I got fired from my job and been wholesaling full time ever since September of 2012.
Good for you, man. And so are you, some of us sometimes go in and out, especially when you're on the construction side and the wholesale side, and you can kind of control whatever piece of the transaction you like at whatever time. Are you active on the wholesale side? Are you active on the construction? What is the nature of your business today?
All right. So, yeah, I am doing wholesaling. So we're doing wholesaling. We don't have a big, crazy wholesale operation. We're probably doing 5 to 7 deals a month, right?
Yeah.
And given that the market is so hot and stupid, I'm just doing rehabs because of the it's a shortage of inventory everywhere. So, prices, like I just did one and we got 15,000 over listing, and that was just and the property was already overpriced. So, I'm just doing rehabs here and there now. I have some more. I have about 2 more going on right now, but yes. We are doing wholesale and rehabbing. The rehab is pretty much my stuff, though, for the most part.
Yeah, good. And so tell us, so one of the things that we're going to talk about is why haven't I got my first deal yet? And so we'll get into that. But let's dive into the nature of what you're doing to get your deals currently.
All right. So basically, what I'm doing is I am doing cold calling, ringless voicemail, and text messaging. I'm doing as much text until you can't do it no more. But yes, I am. That's the 3 ways I do it.
Cold call, RVM, and text.
Yes.
And then how many times will you attempt a call before you give up on a lead? A lot of people out there are struggling right now in our industry, as I know and so they're not really understanding the words that people are talking about with SMS and whether or not it is or is not working, or whether or not AT&T is delivering messages. There's just so much information out there. When people are relying on this stuff for their livelihood, help us understand what you're doing in order to make these things work.
Basically, I mean, we're just recycling our list, and I got people that just pound it out. At the end of the day, it's a numbers game, right? So the more data you have, the better. Okay. So I get it. Some people are broke. So if you're broke, I strongly recommend you gonna drive for dollars. That's how I got my first deal. If you don't want to drive for dollars, then you can buy you can buy data. DuruList.com, buy data. Whatever you can afford, work that list. Don't work it once and give up. You got to work it every month. Over and over. Yeah. You can have a list of, let's say you guys are having a sale right now, 50% off of $200 or more. So let's say you buy $200 worth of data, right? And that's a good amount of data, right? And skip trace what you can't afford, but just be willing to work that list over and over and over every month. That's literally what we do in our business, but just with more data.
Because I don't know if I don't know how it would apply. You're in the Charlotte area, but there's a national statistic that anywhere between 3 and 5% of the market will turn on a yearly basis, right? So what you're suggesting is just a matter of making sure that you're in front of the right person with the right offer at the right time, right? And so touching them as often as you possibly can afford is a great idea. And I agree. My first deal was driving for dollars too. So, though I own a data company, we're not suggesting that the only thing you do is the cheapest thing available out there, or the easiest thing, or just spend a bunch of money. I mean, spending money is not going to get you anywhere in this business. It's putting the right offer in front of the right person at the right time, right? So
That's it.
Being consistent as well.
Yeah. Dom, talk about a little bit of your experience with some of our customers, and maybe you can, like, on behalf of the conversations that you have been having, let's talk about one of their questions.
I mean, a lot of people they don't know where to start. They're a little confused, and especially with data. Like, there's so many different data nuances, so many different things that they need to learn and understand, and there's so much information just bouncing off the walls everywhere. It's kind of difficult to nail down what the exact right strategy is. But I mean, for what I say to most people is it's consistency. You know, if you're consistently hitting these people, if you're consistently talking to these people, then you're going to be the person who's going to get that sale. You're going to be the one who is going to be able to sell that property for them and help them out of that situation. So I think consistency is the most important thing. And if you're consistently marketing to the data and you're understanding your data and where it's going, then, you know, that's how you can really build a good business.
I agree. So let me ask you, in your business since 2000, no, 2012 is when you started YouTube. When did you start?
I started YouTube 2012. I got fired September 2012, and I've been full-time ever since.
Okay. So in your business, when you're attempting to communicate with somebody, how many times right now are you sending a text message before you give up on that person? Could you throw out a number?
At minimum, we're doing it 6 or 7 times. I mean, if they don't respond, we just keep hitting them, hitting them with reminders, following up with them. You know, at minimum, we like to refresh data at least every 6 months or so. So twice a year, at least, refresh the data. But yeah, we get a whole bunch of data, the whole county, and just go after it. And the reason why we were getting on the county and not targeting, doing specific targeting, because of the national landlord stuff, whereas people didn't have to pay due to COVID and they couldn't evict them. So, you know, we just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity. You know, the media pumped fear into people, and unfortunately, in that particular case, one side took it as, hey, I don't have to pay you. And depending on your local municipality, that some of those tenants, they couldn't get evicted, you know, and because they had the national laws and they had the local laws. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I have a customer in Oregon, and so I'll give the story straight. He is making a killing in Oregon right now because he's purchasing houses from these owners, and the tenants haven't been paying for over 18 months. And some of these guys have bought these houses 2, 3, 4 years ago. So there's not equity, or they just don't have the capability to sell it to anyone else besides someone who's there to solve a problem. So let me try to follow the storyline, because I appreciate where we're going with this. So 6 or 7 times, and you're going after absentee owners in this type of a scenario, right? What type of an offer are you putting in front of these absentee owners? Because if you're texting them 6 or 7 times, are you changing up the conversation, or are you saying basically the same thing 7 times?
We say basically the same thing 7 times.
Okay, sure.
You know, and we have a drip, depending on the platform we use, we have a drip conversation where say, hey, we tried to reach you last month or 3 months ago. And, you know, eventually some of them are going to say, hey, this is the wrong number, it's not me. Then you just stop texting, right? Take them off. And, you know, some are going to say, hey, yes, yeah, I got it. I am interested in selling. Call me. And someone's just going to say, hey, go away. Don't contact me again. You know?
Yep, absolutely. So the same basic message. And then do you twist your message for when you're texting absentee owners as opposed to owner occupied? Do you guys have a different opening message, or do you basically rotate the same type of message?
We rotate same type of message so that we don't get blocked. I'm using custom messages. I hired the copywriter to.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I hired the copywriter to basically say, hey, my name is Nasar. I went to buy a house at 123 Main Street. So copywriter took that and made multiple phrases out of that, whereas we don't get blocked by the carriers.
Yeah, sure. And can I ask what SMS platform you're using?
Yeah, right now we are using Duru Data, but launch control basically.
Launch Control is the SMS platform that you're texting out of?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So then that makes plenty of sense. And so I'll give the audience an example, because a lot of I'm on the real estate agent side and the real estate investor side. I prefer to be a real estate investor over a realtor. It's kind of a shitty job. So on our side, we are funneling very specific offers to very specific types of homeowners, and we're using messaging with absentee owners that's different than the other owners, saying things like, hey, listen, we can solve your problem. And then in Arizona, because it's just such a hyper competitive market and everyone has a cash offer from an investor already, we use the messaging. Hey, we're the homebuyer team. I have a brand called the Homebuyer Team, and so we're the homebuyer team, and we're looking to bring a network of end user investors to you, so that you're going to get the most amount of money for your house, right? And so it's an interesting twist to try to use unique messaging to those unique offerings or the unique audiences to try to increase your contact conversion.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it.
So it's about understanding those KPIs.
It's about the KPIs, 100% about the. So our ringless voicemails. So how many times will you hit someone with a ringless voicemail inside of a month or a year?
The ringless voicemail, we hit them with once a month. So we rotate the data like once a month. We just hit them up, follow up once a month.
Yep. It's not rocket science, is it?
No.
And then how about the cold call?
The cold call, we keep recycling the list multiple times until they pick up.
Say that again. Repeat, recycle, and what?
I'm sorry, we recycle the list.
Oh, recycle the list. Yep.
Multiple times. So we might call somebody 3-4 times a month until they pick up and say, "Yo, go away."
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Because why not? I mean, if they haven't told you, like, we're sending out some SMS campaigns right now, and when people say no, that's not a real no, So like that's a no for now, and they didn't tell me to F off, and they didn't ask to be do not DNC'd, right? So it's a follow up. That no is a follow up, And so a lot of people don't understand that it is about just making sure that you're in front of these people at the right time and the right place, and it has to be their right time and not place, not because you want to feed your family. So you just have to make sure that you're consistent about touching these humans that have lives outside of you wanting to buy their house.
Absolutely.
Cool. So so the cold call, recycle the list, and then you started by door knocking. You're not exploring that at all in your current business?
No, I'm not doing door knocking right now. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. So one of the topics that people are watching and dying to hear: why haven't I closed my first deal yet? And so I'm hoping that you might be able to share some of the experiences you have with your students and personal experiences of what that, the consistency, what else, what other blockers do you find people have in their way from being able to get one of these deals done?
Man, sometimes you just gotta turn off social media and turn on your life, man. I think that it's a distraction. When I found out about wholesale in 2010, 2011, I did my first deal. Facebook was around, but it wasn't a part of our lives like it is today.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's not a part of our lives. Yeah, there were smartphones around, but it's not like everyone had one. Right. If you were around then, the cameras on phones at that time were pretty terrible. So, with that being said, man, I just think that what happens is people go on social media and they look at that person, this person, that person's excelling the short sales, that person is chasing pre-foreclosures, the other person is doing Facebook ads, right? What they need to do is follow one course until successful. They got to block out all the noise. Pick one avenue. If you're broke, drive for dollars like I got started out.
100%.
It took me 8 months to get my first deal.
8 months to get your first done. Thank you for letting everybody know that. That's awesome. And so you were just in the car. Was that full time, or was that night and weekends, or what were you doing?
That was weekends, and during the week I filled the calls and go to appointments.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you don't. So 8 months in a part-time job. I mean, that's hope for a lot of people out there. So like if you can't do this full time, then if you can get a deal done in 18 months, then you can make yourself have that first win. And once you have, it's a success mechanism. Once you have that first win, you've seen it, and now you know how to do it. Yeah.
I absolutely. But you have to realize, man, people have to realize, man, that everybody's story is different, right? So when I say that, it might take you 3 weeks to get your first deal, right? But it took me 8 months, man. But you just got to stick to it, man. And try not to quit, man. The real estate information is out there. The most important piece is just having the right mentality to stay with something and not quit as soon as something doesn't go your way. The word is not going to deliver you a check because you want a check.
That's right.
Everybody has problems. You're going through some things at home. You want more out of life. I get it, but you have to go through a process and go through the grind, pay your dues, and get to it, man. And it's worth it.
I see what you're saying. Definitely.
Yeah, man. People will stay at a job 10, 15, 20 years and be broke the whole time, but want to get in this business and be rich in 3 months. It doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. And so I also appreciate what you're saying. And so like the idea of trying to compare yourself in a different market, in a different circumstance in life, and a different income status. Like some people have money to spend on marketing and some people don't. So like you can't go on Facebook and be disappointed by what you see because it has nothing to do with anybody else, right? How are you talking to homeowners? Question number one, right? And so what's after that, Naz? What do you have to ask yourself after you decide whether or not you're talking to homeowners? How many, right? And then how many does it take in order for you to get in that kitchen table, right? And then after that, how many kitchen tables does it take for you to lock up a deal? And if you can see that forward progression, then you're making those baby steps without the the negative or positive encouragement that you see on social media. You're have to take the journey. I love how you frame that.
Yeah, man, it's a journey, but that's why I see where a lot of new investors mess up at, man. But if you haven't done a deal yet, man, if you bought a course, you bought multiple courses. Don't buy nobody else's stuff. Just take one of those courses and just do what they say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and stop being scattered all over the place.
So we'll take this moment to kind of talk about data and talk about the opportunities that so today we're trying to share as much value. At Talk Data to me is about bringing on the people that we like, that we trust, that we know in the industry, that are trying to do the right thing on a daily basis, right? And so we like to bring people up, and then we'd like to share this value with everybody. So today we're going to give away, Naz is going to give away 3 $200 coupons. And so if you want to win those $200 coupons, then the game is tag all of your friends and get them to start listening, because we want people to have a good time. And then on top of those coupons today, we announced our Memorial Day special. And so we're going to give 50% off to anybody that spends $200 or more. So it's a good way to experiment with a new list, experiment with a new channel, and see what you can do in the market. Yeah,
absolutely, man. And one of those winners has to be Bam Bam, because he's been tagging a lot of people.
Yeah, so, Bam Bam. Do you know Bam Bam?
I do know him. We're in the same market, and he actually sold me my last flip. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Nice. Good. Yeah, I knew he was in. Go ahead, Dom.
No, I was just gonna say he's been so loyal to us. He comes on every week and he's always hyping us up, and everyone, like, he's a real one through and through.
All right, so we gotta make sure you win, man. I mean, yeah, you gotta give him one of those. Yeah, absolutely. Hey,
listen, it's about the hustle, and I appreciate that Bam Bam is on, and Bam Bam wants to win, so it makes the circle go round, doesn't it?
Right.
All right. So what was we were going to talk about the first deal, and we kind of went through how that first deal is not going to be anything that's easy. It's the consistency, it's the maintenance, and it's not getting distracted by everything else, right? So what it takes to get your first deal, we kind of talked through that, and so let's kind of pivot. So the end use of real estate, you're a guy that can take this thing from end to end, right? You're able to find the lead, you're able to communicate with the lead, and then you're able to make that real estate worth more by taking it down, remodeling, et cetera, right? So Nas, I'd like to talk about how you use what you know about the back end of the deal to bridge what our customers, our friends, our circle of trust, what everyone listening would need to know about what that end use is, right? So let's talk about fixing and flipping a house and how you make a decision in light of this hyper competitive market. And let's touch on what you've done in order to kind of ignore the hyper competitive markets. And, you know, you gave me some of the tricks you're working on right now, and then let's talk about those so everybody can, you know, share in the wins.
All right. So basically, I mean, what I'm doing right now, the market is stupid competitive. And unfortunately, everybody is going to the hot zip codes. And what I tell my students in the One Deal Away course is does it matter if you make 20,000 out of the hot zip code or on the outskirts of the major city? Most of them say, oh, it don't matter where the money comes from, as long as I'm making money. So, I mean, I use that approach, which is I go on the outskirts. Like, man, he just sold me a deal on the outskirts for Charlotte that I bought. And, you know, and I'm just going around the outskirts and going to those less competitive places. I'm like, just Charlotte, which is the same thing as Atlanta and Houston, chances are a lot of your sellers, even though we go off market, they do the price shopping game. Everybody's dealing with it right now, which is with me and Dom are bidding to see who's going to make the least amount of money on this deal.
Yeah. Isn't that shitty? Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please.
And that's just what we're dealing with at this point in the major cities. It's like, well, what's your offer? And send it over, and then, you know, they shop it around, and, you know, we get them to commit before sending over the offer, and, you know, we still do it. Once we send it over, they'll go dark and come back 3 or 5 days. Well, I got this other guy. He's offered me a lot more, so I'm going to go with him. And it's like, man, there's no way this person can get the deal closed. So we still follow up with them, but everybody's just outbidding each other a stupid number. So it just doesn't make sense.
And so then the sub markets are, so I think I was leading the conversation, but I was doing a terrible job. So what I wanted to say directly is that you can start with supply or you can start with demand, right? And so you have obviously figured out a subsection where there is a better supply and demand curve, right? And so talk about demand in those markets and how you make sure you're not getting stuck with, spending money in a market where you're not going to have an end user buyer.
Right. So basically, just like the investors, just like you as the wholesaler are having a hard time finding good deals, well, so are the investors. And if you're a fix and flipper, you need product.
That's right. Or else your business is dead, just like a wholesaler.
Just like a wholesaler, you need product. If you're an active landlord, you need product. You need to add more stuff to your rental portfolio, et cetera, to get to your goals. So guys from the major city are going to the outskirts. Now, this is where I see, and that's when I'm saying guys, I'm talking about invest cash buyers. Cash buyers are realizing all over that they got to go to the outskirts. But unfortunately, when I say outskirts, I mean directly on the outskirts of the major city, not 60 miles outside. I'm not talking about that. If you're going 60 miles an hour outside of the major city, then you need to pull a list of cash buyers for that city and shop that deal to them. So But yes, so to answer I hope that answers your question. It's just
It doesn't. It answers it perfectly. So
yeah.
in 2004, 5, 6. No, that's basically 2003 since I started in Arizona. So 3 till I left the market, and based in 2007, I went and partied in Chicago because I pulled out all my money, right? And so it was drive until you can buy, right? And so the buyers in this scenario, they are literally going to start driving until they can afford the house when these market booms happen. And the government, God bless America, has made the money really, really cheap. And so that is what is going to happen until there's a market correction. And I'm pretty damn sure there's not going to be a market correction inside of the next your period of time for building a business in the next 18, 24 months, you know? So like there's a massive, massive opportunity in what you're describing, but you got to be creative, right? You got to use your brain. You got to figure out what's going on in your local market. And then you got to apply the technique and run it until it works, or you've decided it has absolutely failed. Is that fair?
Yeah. No, I absolutely. Yes. And a lot of, and the people that's sitting on the sideline, man, don't sit on the sideline. It's not going to get better. Like you said, 18 to 24 months. I'll go as far as saying 2021. I don't think it'll be a dip because money is cheap. Inventory is low. And you have a surplus of buyers, investors, retail buyers, hedge fund buyers. You just have a surplus of buyers. And with that being said, man, you know, it's just crazy. It's crazy out there. So I know everybody's telling me, oh, the banks are going to foreclose on these properties. If the bank actually take those houses back, the banks are not as stupid as we want them to be. Okay,
they used to be, but not anymore.
Right. They're not. Yeah, they're not anymore. So the banks know that there's a hot market. Yep. So if they take these houses back, right, they know, man, we can put these on the market for retail price, yep, or we can sell bulk of these to these hedge funds who will buy 25 and 50 mil at a time. So I don't think it's going to be the foreclosure frenzy as it was back in 08 to 2011, 12.
I'm going to touch on that because I do want to talk about some market strategies because you're a smart guy. And so, but before we get that, I'd like to add a couple questions. So Anthony Harper's asking, what software do you use to compare your market to other similar markets with better potential margins? So let me reframe the question to make it a little bit more direct. How do you decide which side of town to go after, or how does someone that doesn't have a big budget decide which part of town they want to market to according to basically margins where you think you might make money?
All right, so I use Doru Data, right? Doru, D-O-R-U Data. You get the 7-day free trial. It's essentially prop stream, right? Yep. I mean, to be real, I mean, I just started using it like maybe a year or two ago, probably 2 years now, and I don't think there's nothing better than that, man. I mean, you have national, like you can compare markets. You can address that question right in there. Compare. You can look at cash buyers, and what we teach our students is, long as a county has 1,000 cash transactions or more, you can go after that. You know, it's cool to go after that market. It's okay. You should be able to find a cash buyer. Now, you know, you're in a place like Houston, Charlotte, Atlanta. You might have 1,000 transactions in 1 month, you know, easily. But yeah, if you are, you know, as long a smaller market, long you have at least 1,000 cash transactions in that county, and if you go on PropStream and use Doru Data, you can actually see. You have a 7-day free trial. You can actually see how many cash buyers in the city, around the area, a county, all that data is available in there.
That's cool. That's great. So then software to compare the market, definitely. What was the website? Give it to me one more time.
DoruData.com, D-O-R-U data.com.
So if you're comparing markets, similar markets to find better markets on the outskirts of the city, if you're following Nasar's strategy, then that would be a great place to find it. So thanks, Anthony, for asking the question. Is another question from Kyle Park. Nas, is it a bad idea to go for neighborhoods that have low numbers of cash buyers and prop streams? So we kind of touched on that, but what would you do in that situation? Would you, let's say you've already gone after the best bang for the buck market on the outskirts, and so what would you do in that scenario?
All right, if you're in a major city, well, I'm not going to say that because I've seen people in Baltimore, places like Baltimore and Memphis, get houses for $15,000-$20,000 and not be able to sell them. So yeah, some major cities do have a part of town that no one touches. Yeah. Charlotte doesn't have that anymore. I mean, gentrification has changed the whole, the whole look of neighborhoods and everything. So that Charlotte doesn't have if the numbers work anywhere in Charlotte, someone will buy it. So with that being said, man, if you go like the smaller neighborhoods, just be in. You can look at PropStream. Just be wary of the dead spots. When I say dead spots of that city, meaning that investors don't go over there. Investors don't buy over there. Try to go whereas you see where there's cash transactions from investors and multiple companies, and not like the same 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah. So if I could re-explain, I think the answer, it's not that you want 1,000 transactions or any major metric. It's that you're looking for people that are doing this, and you try to track that down. So I think that Kyle, the best answer might be that you're going to need to dive into those cash transactions and follow through, right? So we talked to you earlier about supply and demand. So if it's easy to find your distressed home sellers, then it's easy, right? But if you focus on the demand side and you understand what those even though there's only 10 or 15 or 20 cash investor transactions, if you understand what happened to them, then you should be able to answer your own question. Is that fair, Nas?
That is correct. Yes.
All right. Let's see. So let me see. Hopefully, Kyle, if you have any more, if you want to go deeper into that, please let us know. I'd love to help however I can. Bam Bam's got another one coming for you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
he's already texting him back back on that cell phone over there, right? That's awesome. So the best advice to when you're communicating with your students, what are the three things that you try to help them understand, or what are they missing most in their business?
Man, most of the time it's not the real estate information, it's the mindset.
Yeah,
it's going to take time. We have students closing anywhere between $3,500 a month and $80,000 a month, and it's just the mindset, man. And some guys, the technique is great for them, but most of our students we're seeing is just the mindset and being there to answer their questions. That's what we get for the e-mentorship. We answer their questions. They have access to us, the Facebook group, on the Discord app. But yeah, that's the most important is the mindset. And if just sticking with it, all right? Just keep going. Like, don't give up after 30 days.
So I actually heard you say 3 things. So mindset, stick with it, and network, right? So you have a support group that you help these people through their daily issues, because this is hard, guys. I mean, it's not easy to be able to control a seller transaction and get them into contract, and then once you do, to be able to sell that contract to a third party, and then do it with a investor who in many cases may be more sophisticated than the person who has the contract locked up. And when they get desperate, they start to allow those margins to be collapsed. So I love that. The mindset, stick with it, and the network that you run. Is there anything else? So we're gonna give away some data coupons. And is there anything else that you wanna communicate about your education, or anything to leave the gems with our audience here?
No, I mean, just you can follow me on Instagram, Real Estate Guru, my YouTube channel, Real Estate Guru. That's where I'm most active. And yeah, I mean, I offer a course, and but listen, I have hundreds of a little under 200 free videos on YouTube. You know, if you want to put that together, go ahead. Max probably has 300-400 videos on YouTube with the free content. We have a course. Don't think that, we're just salesmen. We actually go out and do this business. We have the free content for you. But if the free content doesn't work, we definitely have a course. And the link is in my bio, maxandnas.com. I also have an ebook. It's a $37 ebook.
Cool.
So depending on how you learn, the ebook or the course could be better for you. The course comes with the e-mentorship, and the ebook, that's just take home, read it, and get going.
Okay, cool. And we did get a couple other questions in here that I'd love to. So how small is too small of a town to wholesale, from Charles Armstrong? It's another difficult question, but do you have an answer?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I find is time when you pull a city and there's less than 100 cash transactions for the year, and most of those cash transactions in personal names, I wouldn't recommend going there.
Got it. That's great to know. Yeah. Okay, good. That's a clean answer. I haven't been able to answer. I haven't done much virtual wholesaling. We're considering it. And so I love that answer. What would you say is the biggest challenge wholesaling now versus when you started? That's an interesting question. Nas, what would you say is the biggest challenge wholesaling now versus when you started?
The biggest challenge wholesaling now versus when I started. Let me see. So I would have to say, man, the biggest challenge is just, growing and scaling. We all go through the growing pains of having a business, right? Employees are not going to do what they're going to say. Employees change. You have to fire and hire. So it's my problems come more on the business side than they do inside the real estate. The real estate stuff is simple, but it's not easy. Yes, deals falls apart. Yes, sometimes we take it under contract too high. And yes, sometimes deals have extremely ridiculous title issues. So, but that's normal. But I mean, the stuff that the most bigger challenge for me is just the business aspect of it. So things on the business side, like employees and things of that nature.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'd love to, have you ever, I'm sure Traction. Have you tried to use some of the methodology in Traction for the people that are, looking to take it to the next level? I highly recommend that. But are you using any business systems, Nas?
I'm definitely familiar with Traction. We try to use Traction and all of that, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. There's another book. There's this. What's it called? There's a book called Clockwork. So just trying to help everybody. If they're going through these struggles. There's another book called Clockwork, which isn't. It's probably a simpler version. Traction was a little bit terrible to read.
I swear to God, that one's a hard read for me. People like, oh, that book is great. That book is great, but I'm like, dude, I did not understand it. So I actually had
a section. Yeah.
I've had people that were like, they had a great understanding of Traction, and I paid them for coaching, but yeah, that Traction was terrible.
I know. I appreciate truth. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody always says it's one of the best books, but it's a hard thing to get through, So, let me pull back to just Anthony for so I'm what do you think? So your first, tell me about the first types of challenges you were, referencing the first types of challenges when you first started wholesaling. What types of challenges do you think that new wholesalers, I think that's probably where Anthony might have been going, is maybe new wholesalers, what challenges are they running into as opposed to when you started 2011,
Newer challenges. I mean, I know some people can't believe this. When I started, it was easier to get sellers, and you had to beg for buyers.
Wow.
Yeah. When I started, it was easy to get sellers. You had to beg for buyers. And when I say easier, it was easier than it is today. Yep. And no matter what the market does and what the economy does, people are always going to complain that there are no deals. People complained back then there were no deals. People complain that there are no deals. So that's just some people are just going to make excuses. But the difference is now is there's tons of buyers, but they can't get. It's hard to get to the sellers. The sellers been talked to 15 or 20 times, but again, it's the mindset piece. You just have to. Yeah, you're going to get told no maybe 300 times, but you just have to keep going until you get that yes. And that's why it took me 8 months to get my first deal.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. And then it works in every market. There is no difference between this market and the market five. Well, there's lots of differences between this market and 5 years ago and 10 years ago. But, there's a way to play the game under all circumstances, because if you remember, all we're trying to do is create solutions for people with problems, right? So if you know how to create solutions, then you're going to be able to communicate well with homeowners, and that will create the opportunity for yourself. So, let's see. I think that Charles, wholesale and hotel might be a bit too specific for everyone here, so maybe we could do that question offline. But wholesaling and hotel, what buyers look for in that, and what buyers would definitely know that. It depends on the circumstance of the market. So Charles, is there a way do you encourage people to reach out to you on Messenger, on Instagram, or things along those lines? Can he ask you an offline question on Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, you could go ahead and ask me a question. I mean, I get tons of questions on IG. I don't get to them all, unfortunately. But yeah, just go ahead and DM me on Instagram and see if hopefully I can get to it. I know after I hop off this, I got to finish up some office work, and I got a reservation somewhere, so got to head out.
Date night, baby. All right, good. No, I appreciate that 100%. So let's give away some data. Dom, who's going to get some $200 coupons today?
Yeah, so I got 3 people that I picked out from just throughout. I wanted to, obviously we got to give to Bam Bam.
Always. Bam Bam's our biggest supporter. Thanks, Bam Bam. I appreciate you all.
He was picked out by Nas earlier there. Ashley Johnson, she popped in.
Ashley, you still on?
It looks like she was here.
She was here, but I don't know. She was definitely tagged a bunch of people. But Ashley, are you still on?
Well, wait. I got to run her up just in case.
Oh, come on, Ashley.
She's still here. Yeah.
Hey. That's awesome. It's fun.
Ashley's actually one of our customers. She's been killing it out there. I know that.
Hey.
But
great news. Hey, Ashley, we would love a video testimonial from you. We've been collecting those and looking to make a collage of them. So if you were willing, that would be great. But thank you so much for participating today. That's awesome, and congrats.
All right. So how many coupons we got left, or that was just 2 we gave out?
2 more.
So we got Bam Bam.
One more.
Ashley Johnson, and we're gonna go Kyle Park. Appreciate the good comments and everything like that. He was tagging a bunch of people as well.
Okay, cool.
Well, Nas, I really appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate the opportunity to get on and talk about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Follow Nas at maxandnas.com, yeah, and on Instagram.
Yeah, that's it.
Pretty appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, every week, every Wednesday, we're doing this. Come out, support, tag your friends. We're giving away data every week, so come on out and get some free value and learn some gems of the wholesale.
Thanks out. Enjoy that dinner there, Naz.
All right, thank you.
See you, brother.
Appreciate it.